Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining one of our Sunday trainings. We appreciate that you've taken time out of your weekend to continue to educate yourself. And we have a series of 6 different trainings, and they are all different titles. Each lead teacher chose a topic to present on from the most recent conference that we attended. It was a virtual conference this year, but the Michigan chapter of National Association for the Education of Young Children, NAEYC, there is a Michigan chapter, and we were able to participate in that training virtually this year. So the topics that we're covering over the next several Sundays are It's Okay to Be Silly, Music, Books, and Play, A Better Leader by Becoming the Best You, Social Emotional Development, Skills Training to Help Children Socially, Emotionally, Academically, and Behaviorally, Risky Play, the importance for social emotional development, trauma, becoming aware of different types of trauma and how this affects behavior and social emotional skills. And then our last series is going to be Power Struggles, Pick Your Battles with Children and Adults. Each lead teacher went through, we sat down and talked about each of the staff in the room, what might be an area that would be good for each individual to learn about, or it might be an area that you could grow in, or it's just an area that we thought would be interesting to you or a topic that would be helpful to you. So we hope that you enjoy the session we put you in. And as most of you already know, your lead teachers have shared that you are able to join any one of the training sessions if you would like. By attending the training session you were scheduled to attend, you will be paid for that if you attended in person. Otherwise, we'll ask that you view. We'll be recording each of the sessions. I'm obviously recording myself right now, and this gives me the ability to play this during each session. Every group will be able to see it without me having to present it 6 different times, standing up front each time. And it allows me to pause it so that we can have some discussion and questions. So my portion of the training for each Sunday is twofold. I feel that this conference that we attended really hit on social emotional skills. And it made me do a lot of thinking personally about social emotional intelligence and our own development as adults, socially and emotionally, the things that we've experienced in life, how they've shaped us, and in turn, social emotional development with the children in our care. The world is changing and children are exposed to many things. Some of our topics like trauma or power struggles have become more everyday occurrences for children in the world that we're living in today, which might be different, very different from the world you grew up in. Those of us who are a little bit older knew life very differently. We didn't have to deal with a lot of the things that are happening today. So that really does shape people's social and emotional skills. The conference this year hit very heavy on that, and every one of the sessions that are going to be presented all tie into social emotional skills. And so I wanted mine to also tie into social emotional intelligence, but from a level of an organization or a company or as an employer. And I would like to think of us as a family, a school family, and a childcare family. And we might not all be best friends, we might not hang out, and that's okay. But we do work together every day. And for some of you, this might be a job, it pays the bills, and that's okay. But for me, it has always been more than a job. I've been here at St. Lawrence for 14 years. I've been a director for about 24 years. And I didn't choose this field. I changed my major a couple of times. I didn't choose this field initially, but as I got into the classes, really realized my love for wanting to help children and families. And that can get mixed up sometimes. I'm not always great at doing that. We get bogged down with the day-to-day, having to do the billing or payroll or just the things that crop up helping classrooms. I don't always really think about my daily job as the career that I chose to go into. And so this conference really made me think about, as you can see on the screen that I'm sharing, the topic of what do we stand for? And I think from a personal point of view, you can look at this for yourself in your personal life. What do you stand for? Are you living your values every day? And I really want you to think about this, whether it be from a job perspective, working here at St. Lawrence, or ultimately what your end career goal is, or also for yourself personally. I get excited about topics, and I don't know that when I train, that excitement is passed on to people. Um, I can't make someone be excited for learning. I hope that I share information that makes you think and to really help you in your daily life as well as your work life. And to me, this topic was very important because I think that I get lost in the day to day of the busyness of life, personally, professionally. We all get frustrated. We hit those points where we all think, oh, it's just time for a break. So, this conference made me reflect, and I've been doing some reading. One of the goals I set for myself was professional reading. So, quarterly, every 3 months, reading a book that will help me in my job, that will help me to help all of you, and will help me to help the families and children that we work with every day. And I think that's really important. Um, I didn't go back to school and get my master's degree until I was in my early 40s. And going back to school is hard. For any of you in school, school is really hard. And again, that's changed over the years. But I also believe that continually educating ourselves, whether we're going to school and taking classes, whether we think we want to go back to school, or whether we just find trainings or we read books that can help us to deal with the things in our job and our daily lives, our relationships, and how we interact with people, and how we respond or react to the things around us. So I've set that as a goal for myself that 4 times a year, I will read 4 books a year. Every quarter, I'm going to read a new book that will help me in my job. Currently, I am reading a book that I didn't bring with me. It is called Conscious Discipline, and it really is about brain development, but it's really about how we have to start with ourselves before we can help children to be successful and effective learners, and to be good humans in this world. So let's get started. I'm excited about this, and I hope that you take something from this today, whether it has to do with your job here at St. Lawrence, a future job, or your personal life. Hopefully there's something you can take from this that will help you in all of those areas of your life. So what do we stand for? Living our values every day. Core values are really important. We have a new pastor here at St. Lawrence, Pastor Brad Hubbard. If you're a member here at St. Lawrence, you might know him, you might have heard of him. But one of the things he's really focusing on is helping St. Lawrence staff and team think about what are our core values, what are the values that we as a staff and faculty want to operate with and take out to the world and to share with other people. What do we want people to know about us? What do you want people to know and think about you, right? Do you want them to know the things that you stand for, and hopefully that you're a good human being, or do you want them to just think about the negative things about you? Your core values are the beliefs that guide you or guide an organization's actions. It unites people. So in our case, it would unite our employees, and it defines St. Lawrence, or it defines St. Lawrence childcare and who we are. That's what our core values are. Values are important and lasting beliefs or ideals shared by the members of a culture. In this case, the culture would be St. Lawrence Childcare, or St. Lawrence, or Frankenmuth even. It's what is shared by the members of a culture about what is good or bad, or desirable or undesirable. Values have major influence on a person's behavior and attitude, and serve as a broad guideline in all situations. So think about that. What are some of the things here at St. Lawrence Childcare that we see as values? That are part of our culture? What do we find is okay or not okay, desirable or undesirable in our environment? Sorry, the sun is coming in at this time of day, and so let me just get situated here so you don't see it all over my face. So anyways, what are the values that have a major influence on our behavior and our attitudes while we're here at work, right? Or think about in your personal life. How are you affected by your values? I want you to take a little bit of time, look at this list, and pick 10 to 12 values that you think are the most important for our program, okay? If you have other words, feel free to add them to your top 10. I'm going to be giving you in our actual session today a paper like this that has a list of values. Sorry, you can't see that in my virtual screen. Has the list of values. I want you to circle your 10 to 12 values. So we're going to take a little bit of time to do that. And then we're going to hand those in actually, because I want this to be about you picking. I want you as coworkers, as employees here, as a part of this program. This program can't operate without you. I want you to pick what you think should be the top 10 to 12 values for our program and our organization. And then what I'm going to do, I'll collect these, and then I'm going to compile and see how many of us chose the same things. We have almost 60 staff. If 60 of us choose service or communication, wow, that obviously is really a value that we all feel very strongly about. So I'm going to compile these, and we will have an opportunity to learn what everybody thought the core values were. I'll be following up with that. But take some time now to really think about the top 10 or 12 that you would like to circle for the most important for our program. And if you want, you can write along the side and do it for yourself or on a separate piece of paper. Write down what you feel your top 10 or 12 personal values should be. Okay. Now that we've done that, let's take a look at the core values that you actually picked. Do you really know what your core values are in your personal life? Do you have values that are set for yourself? We think we do, to be honest, trustworthy, loyal, professional. But think about those. Do you really know what your values are? Have you ever sat down and thought about what are the top things that I value, that I hold as my belief system? Okay. And what are the ways that you're living these in your personal life? We're going to discuss that a little bit. Okay. Are you living those values? If one of your top values is your faith, are you living that in your daily life? If one of your top values is honesty, are you being honest with the people around you, with yourself? Is that something, a value that you're really living by every day? What are the ways you live by your values at work or school? Your personal values, or we will even discuss the values that you've chosen for our particular organization. But even on a personal level, if you've chosen values for yourself, you feel that you hold a value system, you believe in God, you have a strong faith, that's one of your values. Are you sharing that with the children at work? Do you share that with the families? How are you living that daily and showing that to people? Are you offering forgiveness when you feel that you've been wronged? Are you asking for forgiveness when you feel that you've overstepped a bound or you've made a mistake? So just some things to think about, and we're going to discuss this too. I'm going to pause here and we will discuss how we are living out our values in our personal life and work. You might be asking yourself, what do our values have to do with our job? Hopefully you recognize what they have to do with our job. And, our work values guide us and they tell people something about us. So having values in our organization is important. And your personal values guide you within your job too, how you treat coworkers, how you interact with people, your work ethic. Those types of things are all important in your job. But let's talk a little bit about what they have to do with our jobs, because even more than that, I wanted to get into what our values have to do with the children we're working with and the families we're working with. Do you know these are the top 10 what they call soft skills that an employer looks for? when they're hiring an employee. Our organization is a little bit different. Childcare is different than a lot of many companies and organizations. But these are still really important in our environment. If you think about it, communication, we talk about that. I cover that in initial training. We have logbooks within our classroom. Communication is key, talking to one another about what we're doing, about what's going on with the children. Being self-motivated, employers look for that. You need to be self-motivated working here, right? If we just sit and we're not interacting with the kids, or we're not taking on jobs and somebody else is doing all the work, people get a little bit frustrated with each other when somebody is doing more work than someone else. We have to find self-motivation, and that's really key. Employers are looking for people who want to participate in the job, who are willing to get up and do things without being asked. So self-motivation is key for employers. Being a leader, and taking responsibility. We do have lead teachers in our room, so automatically some people might think, well, yeah, they're the leader. You too can be a leader when you make the right decisions, the right choices, when you're using good judgment. Those are all ways in which you're leading your coworkers, and you're showing leadership also to the children by taking charge of situations, by responding versus reacting. Those are all ways in which you can show people that you have leadership skills. Taking responsibility for things. Do we quickly throw somebody else under the bus when we made a decision in the classroom? Do we take responsibility for how we've handled situations with children? Do we take responsibility in the room with participating and helping with cleaning duties and group time, those types of things? Being responsible, showing up to work on time. Teamwork. Are we communicating with each other, working together, sharing responsibility? That's all a part of teamwork. Problem solving. Employers look for people who know how to solve problems. There are almost 60 of us in childcare, and I count on each one of you every single day. What you do is so important to me. And if I don't tell you that, I'm telling you that now. This center wouldn't run without you. It doesn't run because I'm here. I am sort of a cog in the wheel, or one of the gears that makes everything work. But it takes all of us working together, and people need to be able to problem solve. If you weren't able to think on your own and solve a problem that arises with the children, or you needed your hand held every time a decision had to be made, that'd be really difficult for myself to do with 60 people, or for lead teachers to do with everyone in their room. So being a problem solver, being decisive, knowing how to make a decision, making a choice, not saying, well, I don't know, what do you think? What do you want to do? That's okay to talk through those things, but also being able to make decisions. That's important. The ability to work under pressure. Our job gets stressful. We have fire drills, we have tornado drills, things happen. Every day is not the same. Being able to work under pressure, being flexible, those sort of go hand in hand. Being able to manage your time. We have many things we fit into a day, and being able to get to work on time or leave on time. That's all about time management and being able to work under pressure and handling your job by making appropriate decisions, right? And then negotiating and conflict resolution. You might think, well, what do we really have to negotiate? Or I don't have conflict with my coworkers, but it could be little things, whether it's with children, negotiating and conflict resolution with the kids. How about with a parent that's frustrating to us? How about with a coworker who we're feeling a little bit irritated with, or we feel that, I'm the one who's always changing all the diapers, or always having to take the dishes to be washed, or to change the laundry. We get into a conflict with someone over those things. Are we able to negotiate those? So think about these things within our environment. Think of examples of each one of these things like I've given, and recognize whether you're here or whether it's when you transition to your long-term job someday, these are skills that employers look for. You want to build these skills while you're here, learn them, get good at them. Be a dependable, reliable employee who communicates, is self-motivated, can be a leader, takes responsibility, works well together, can solve problems, make decisions, is flexible, knows how to resolve conflicts, and has the ability to work under pressure and manage their time. These are all so important in our environment, but beyond these walls. It's important for you to have these skills. I want you to have those skills. Professionalism. We talk about professionalism. I want to make sure everybody really knows what professionalism is. And professionalism, the definition is the competence or skill expected of a professional. And you see a lot of words here. When you think of a professional, what do you think of? We're going to pause here and share some of the things that we think of. We also see right here, respect, somebody who's respectful, someone who's honest, somebody who's patient, somebody who is ethical. They make the right decision, not only just for themselves, but for everyone, for the organization. Somebody who is attentive, maybe somebody who is a good communicator, somebody who's educated, someone who's independent. There's so many different things that play into professionalism. Let's talk about what professionalism looks like in our environment now. This screen is all about what are we teaching children by living or not living our core values, right? What are we teaching them? We talk about some of those soft skills. I've listed them here. Communication. Are we modeling and teaching them skills to talk with others and to share information? Are we giving them that skill? Are we doing that? Are we writing in the logbook? Are we documenting in daily reports? Are we talking with our coworkers and interacting with the children and modeling for them how to communicate with one another? What about when a situation comes up where two children have a fight and one child runs to you and says, Miss Andrea, he hit me. Would I be teaching them how to communicate by saying, okay, I'm going to go talk to him. And then I go over and say, Jonathan said that you hit him. We can't hit our friends. Am I teaching the other child how to communicate with Jonathan? Or should I say, okay, let's go talk to Jonathan. Jonathan, he has something he'd like to say to you. And then let that child say what he's feeling. Help them learn how to communicate with each other and use their words and talk through things. Are we modeling that? If we have a value of communication, then we really should be teaching children how to communicate. How about self-motivated? Are we just sitting when we're outside on the playground? Are we sitting in the classroom and watching them play? Or are we interacting with them? Are we self-motivated? As we're cleaning the room, we get the children involved in helping us. Do we just pick up and don't teach them how to do it? How are children going to become self-motivated to clean up after themselves, to learn, to listen, if we're not modeling and teaching the skills for them to be motivated by their own desire to be a good human, right? What if we're not modeling how to go over and help a child who's struggling? How are they going to learn to do that, right? Think about that. How are some ways you could help them to become self-motivated? How can you model that? Leaders, are we modeling and teaching them the skills to lead others effectively? I don't mean just being a line leader, right? How are we teaching them to lead others? Are we being a good role model of leadership? Responsibility. Are we modeling that and teaching them to take responsibility for decisions and actions? This might look something like, first of all, I have to take responsibility when I've made a poor choice. Maybe that's apologizing to a child because they tried to explain to me what was happening and I didn't fully listen. And so it's okay to back up and say, you know what? I want to tell you that I'm sorry because I wasn't listening to you. You were trying to tell me that that's what happened and I just wasn't listening. So I want you to know I'm very sorry. Do you forgive me? Wouldn't that be a way to model to them responsibility, taking ownership when we've made a mistake or being responsible for our actions or how we've maybe hurt someone or wronged someone? We want them to do that, right? We want them to tell each other sorry, but are we? Or do we dismiss it because we're busy? Oh, okay, well, good. I'm glad you figured that out. Versus saying, you know what? You tried to tell me and you were right. I didn't listen. I'm so sorry I didn't listen to you. Next time I'm going to stop and be a better listener. That would be taking responsibility. That would be one way we could model. Let's talk about some others. How about teamwork? Are we modeling and teaching them the skills to work together to solve problems? What if two children come to you with a problem? Do you go and fix it for them? Do you go over and say, you know what, let's go take a look. Let's see if we can figure this out. I realize with younger children, that might be hard. Preschoolers and older, they can tell us. But with our younger kids, how do we help them problem solve? What if they can't figure something out? Can we give them the language? Can we talk them through the problem? Let's take, for example, a waddler or a toddler. They have a shape sorter, right? And they try to put it in one hole and it doesn't work. If you take it and put it in the other hole for them and say, oh, it goes here, are you teaching them to problem solve? Or if you said, oh, that piece doesn't fit in there, let's try another spot. Where do you think it could go? Look for something that has points on the corner, or look at the shape, look at the colors. Where do you see red on that puzzle? Look for a spot where there's red, and I bet you that piece will fit. Talk them through problem solving. Oh, you have it in the right spot, but it doesn't quite fit. We need to turn it around the other way, right? These would be ways to help them problem solve. Are you helping them do that? How about when there's a disagreement? Talking through things, finding solutions to difficult tasks, right? Help them to talk with their friends and work through solving problems. Give them the words and make them resolve it. Don't just say, no, we're not going to hit our friends. Do you understand? I don't want your friends to come and tell me that you've hit again. Or are we going to say, oh, your face looks like you are upset because you were hit. Let's go talk to your friend. And then have them talk it out. Waddlers and toddlers who can't talk, let's take biting, for example. You have someone who bites another child. When the child is crying, show the biter, look at her face. She's crying. You made her very sad. That hurt her body. Our teeth are for eating our food. You can tell your friend, no. That child knows how to say no. Teach that child to say no or stop. That's a way to talk them through a problem, even at a younger age when they don't have the words. You're talking it out so that they're listening, and that's called modeling. You're modeling for them how to solve that problem when they don't yet have the words. How about being decisive? Are we modeling and teaching them how to make decisions quickly and appropriately? Or are we standing back and going, well, what should we do next? I don't know. Sort of raining out. We can't go outside, but I'm not sure if the gym is available. Well, do you want to do this coloring sheet? Or, oh, well, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do it. What if we got puzzles out for the kids? Or are you going, you know what? It's raining out, so we can't go outside, but I know that the kids love puzzles. How about we do puzzles? And then after we do puzzles for a little while, you can choose something for us to do with the kids. Take turns. Teamwork. That's showing them teamwork. You work together to make a quick decision on what to do next. We don't have to get everybody's agreement. Someone just needs to take the reins, be a leader, pick an activity, but include the other teachers in that. Have that discussion and that communication. Give each other an opportunity to each pick an activity to do with the kids during the time that you have to remain inside. Again, just one example. How about working under pressure? Are we modeling and teaching them how to handle stress and pressure in difficult situations? When the kids start to get to you, or a child isn't listening or constantly telling you no or running away from you, do you throw your hands up and say, I've had enough and you're going to have to go to the office? We know what happens. Or a child won't do something you want them to do. Step back, take a deep breath. Okay, I can handle this. Instead of reacting, I'm going to take a breath and I'm going to respond, and I'm going to say, I'm really frustrated right now because you're not listening to me. And that makes it very difficult for us to do this. Talk through that situation. Show them that under pressure, you can step back and you can find calm. Isn't that what we want them to do? When they don't like something a friend has done, or they get mad because it's time to clean up and they throw themselves on the floor and have a tantrum, or they throw a toy at their friend, or they hit someone, don't we get upset because they're not remaining calm and using their words? So when we blow up at them and we don't remain calm and use our words, I don't mean yelling, but we get frustrated. We're very short with them. We rush them through things. Are we really teaching them how to work well under pressure? Let's think about that. Are we doing it ourselves? Flexibility. Are we modeling and teaching the skill on how things have to change and adjust? This is a job where we have to be flexible. Yes, we have a schedule, and some people are rule followers and they think, well, it says we eat at 11, we have to eat at 11, and then at 11:25 we have to be done. Sometimes we have to be flexible. Yes, we do have schedules to follow, but we might have to shift things by a few minutes here and there. Routine is important. Kids need that routine to know what's coming next so that there isn't as much chaos. If we don't keep a routine, right, and we're so flexible, then kids don't know what to expect from us. And then we don't understand why they're crazy and they're misbehaving. Well, they don't know what to expect. They need that routine. So I'm not saying we should be so flexible we don't have a routine and every day is just by the seat of our pants. Not what I'm saying at all. But we do have to be flexible and say, oh, the raining situation. We normally go to the gym because kindergarten goes outside, or we normally go to the gym because toddlers are outside. But you know what? It's raining, so they're using the gym today. So we're not going to be able to. We're going to have to shift gears and be flexible and come up with an activity in our room. Maybe that's parachute play in the room, a gym activity on our large carpet area instead of actually going to the gym. Or maybe it's dancing to music. We have a dance party, whatever that might be. We have to be able to switch gears and be flexible, right? That's the type of flexibility. And if we can't do that, how can we expect kids to be flexible? Conflict resolution. Are we modeling and teaching them the skills to resolve disagreements with friends? When we're not happy with somebody in the classroom, whether it's a coworker, or let's even take, for example, our spouse, our significant other, our child, and we're complaining to our coworkers about it, because we all do it, myself included, right? We all do that. How are we teaching them to resolve conflict? Are we teaching them to really work through their difficult situations? If we get irritated with the teacher that's by us, or that's not doing something, or we feel is being lazy today and isn't helping out, and we just blow up at them, or we're short with them, or we refuse to talk to them, children feel that tension. They do, whether you think they do or not. They might not understand what's going on, but they feel it. Just like they do in our homes when we're short with them or we're irritated, right? Or our significant others. We know that the people around us can feel that. You feel it if I'm having a bad day. I'm maybe more quiet, or I don't come and visit the rooms as much, or I'm a little bit shorter when you have to ask me for something. I don't mean to be, but maybe I'm getting myself frustrated. I'm not working well under pressure, and then I'm not able to have good skills at resolving disagreements, right? So think about what skills we need. And if we're not able to talk to the people around us and work through things and say, hey, what's going on today? I feel like you're just not as helpful to me today. Then how do we expect kids to do that? We have to live our core values if we want children to be doing those things. We want them to know how to communicate and be responsible for cleaning up after themselves, and to go with the flow some days, and to work with their friends, and to take responsibility when they hurt somebody. But if we're not doing those things daily because we're so busy and caught in the routine and telling them, don't do this, do that, we got to go here, we got to go there, nope, it's time to go down for a nap. If we're so caught up in the day that we don't stop and live our values ourselves, then how can we ever expect children to know what they are? So I'm going to pause, and we're going to just talk about how we handle these situations. How do we react in things like this? So we're going to have a good discussion on that. What are we teaching children by how we handle situations or stressors? This video is a little bit corny, but hopefully you can get past that. The Dr. Becky Bailey is the person who wrote the book that I'm currently reading called Conscious Discipline. She's got a good sense of humor. She makes some really good points. And I want us to watch this video. It's two adults acting out. Dr. Bailey actually plays the child in the situation, coming home and complaining to her mom about something at school. This shows different ways that we respond, whether we ignore, whether we try to save the person, okay? Do we ignore what the child's trying to tell us? Or maybe you want to think about it from a perspective of a spouse or your own child at home. But I'm showing you this because I want us to think about what we do within our environment here in childcare, okay? So if a child were to come to us, whether it be with this problem or another problem. You're going to have to think at your age level. Infants is a little more difficult. However, although the infant can't come to you with an issue, you can definitely choose something that happens with an infant and see how you respond. Again, there's things like, are we sort of ignoring the signal that they're giving us or what they're saying to us? Are we trying to save that child? Do we just scoop them up and we make everything better? This gives you multiple ways of how situations could be handled and what the effects are of those things when you handle them that way. Versus the very last example they're going to give is the way that we really should be handling situations. Seems time consuming. When you watch this video, I know that's what I would probably think in your shoes, like, well, how are we going to ever have time to respond like that in the classroom? We have to slow ourselves down a little bit. We do have schedules to keep to, but we have to stop worrying about, do we get each activity done and everything done? Because we need to start focusing on how we're teaching our values, how we're responding to children, because those things teach them the social and emotional skills they need. We want them to become socially and emotionally intelligent so that they are able to handle life. Ultimately, our jobs will become easier if we do that. So let's take a look at this video.
Many of us have discovered by now that we medicate our emotions instead of manage them. I went on a diet last year, an extreme diet, and people kept saying, "Aren't you hungry? Aren't you hungry?" And I'm like, "No, I'm angry." And of course, that uncovered the fact that I had been medicating my anger with food for years and years and years. Subsequently, now I've discovered that I medicate my anxiety with working. So I'm a workaholic. I medicate my sadness with television. I'm a reality show freak. And I medicate all of them to some degree, not excessively, but I can take a drink now and then. So cheers to everyone watching. And the downside of this is three things. Three things are guaranteed when you medicate your emotions instead of manage them. One, you will be addicted to something. Now, that something could be socially acceptable like work, but you're going to be addicted to something. Two, we will act out our emotions on others. And you know this, we act the worst with the people we love the most. And what happens then is we feel this sense of guilt that we've hurt others that we love, that we've actually hurt ourselves or damaged relationships, damaged colleagues, whatever the case may be. We blanket the emotions with a layer of guilt. And then we spend the rest of our lives managing the guilt instead of trying to manage ourselves or even our children. Third, we pass this unconscious system down to our children through our parenting practice and our educational institutions, through teaching and through parenting. We want to do it differently. We just don't know how. So the first step to any change is conscious awareness. Now, in my book, Managing Emotional Mayhem, you cannot manage children's emotional mayhem until you start learning to manage your own. You can't manage your own unless you become conscious of what the tendency is for you to do, and that comes from how you were raised. So let me read you just a teensy-tiny bit. Okay, think back to when you were a child. What were your parents' responses to your emotions? Did they name, acknowledge, and use them as a teaching tool? You seem angry. You were hoping you could stay up later. Or did they punish, ignore, bribe, or dismiss? Go to bed now. Don't make me have to get up. Our relationship with our emotions starts early and can last a lifetime. If we are to foster the emotional well-being within children, we must make the necessary changes to tune up our own system. Part of this book, too, is a wonderful exercise that has you look at each emotion and see how they were responded to in your family of origin. Let's take a look at anger right now. Mom, that's it. I hate my teacher. I hate my teacher.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe what she did today. You would not believe, Mom. Look, Mom, I hate her. I hate. No,
I'm listening. I'm listening.
everyone. She picks on everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah. I'm listening, honey. You know what? Could you?
You want to know what she did?
What, honey?
Do that. What about Marcus?
Yeah.
What about Marcus? Do you remember the other day?
Marcus. Yeah, I remember Marcus. Here, take this. Why don't you just here, go ahead. Just start drawing. What? What? What do you?
Whatever.
You don't need to have that, honey. Honey, just give me the dish then. Give me the dish. All right, good. Okay, good.
Mom, I hate my teacher.
You do not come in here this way. You do not come in here yelling at me. What do you think you're doing? Hang that up. Hang that up right now. This is ridiculous. I've had it with your mouth. I have had it with your mouth.
But Mom.
You want me to do this again?
No.
You pick that up. You pick that up right now. You pick this. You.
Mom, I hate my teacher. I hate my teacher. I absolutely hate my teacher. You would not believe what she did to Marcus. You wouldn't believe what she did to me.
You like your teacher. She's nice, honey. You like your teacher.
Do you know what she did to Marcus? Do you even know? Do you care what
nothing
she did
to do with
Marcus?
No, it doesn't matter what she did to Marcus, honey. You know, you were good at school. You're a good student, sweetie. You're a good student. You like her, and you're good at school. You're a nice person, sweetheart. You're a nice person. So you just have to remember that. Remember how you're a nice person and you like people. Yeah, you do. Yeah. You want a little snack? You want me to get you a snack? Let's just let's just have, let me see. I'm sure I've got some ice cream in the fridge. How about that? Okay. Yeah. Here you go, sweetie. Here, you know what? I'll just get you a spoon. Here you go. Enjoy. Yeah.
Can I have the whole thing?
Oh, of course. Of
Okay,
course.
thank
Yeah. It's better now, isn't it? It feels better now, doesn't it? Yeah.
Mom,
What happened? What happened?
I hate my teacher.
What did she do? What did she do?
You wouldn't believe what she did. You know what she did to Marcus first? First she wrote the name on the board, and then she sends him out to the room, and then you know what she did to me? She humiliated me in front of the whole class.
She is not getting away with this. She is not going to get away with this.
She shouldn't.
You know what? I'm calling her right now.
You call her. Wait, can you get her? Mom, do something. She was horrible. You know what she said to me? She said, I was stupid. She said,
no, I can't wait.
She said I was stupid.
She said, you know what? We're taking you out of that school.
In front of the class.
You know what? I'm going to call. We're getting you out of that school, honey. We are going to get you out of that school. We are going to make this better for you. Nobody treats my girl that way.
Nobody treats my girl that way. Oh, Mom, thank you. You're welcome. Thank you.
I'm the one that you love. I'm the one that takes care of you.
Yes, Mom.
Yeah.
You're the best.
Yeah.
You're the best.
I know. Oh, I am the best.
Thank you. And we have a test tomorrow.
Oh, I'll help you. I'll help you do it. I'll help you.
Well, if I don't have to go, I don't have to do it.
Oh, that's right.
Okay.
Oh. Yeah, we don't even need her.
Mom, you wouldn't believe it. I hate my teacher. I hate my teacher. You would not believe what she did to me today. You wouldn't believe what she did to Marcus.
Yes, and you're going to tell me. Take a deep breath.
But Mom, okay,
Yeah.
Mom, okay. But I got to tell you.
Yeah.
Okay. She calls us up in front of the school.
Yeah.
Right up at the front of the board, and she has us do these problems. Marcus goes up first. You know, of course, everybody laughs. They're always laughing at Marcus. So they walk up there. He laughed, and I'm like, I'm not going. I put my head down. You know what she did? She called on me. Anyway, she calls on me. I go up there. I work the problem.
Yeah.
And right in front of everybody, she says, well, you didn't get it right.
Oh.
You're not working hard enough.
Yeah.
You're.
And you were hoping she would really understand how hard that was for you. You were hoping that she would understand that you were really taking a risk to go up there. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was
Yeah.
scary to walk up in
It
front
is
of everybody.
scary. It is scary.
And you
to
know,
walk
math
up into
isn't my
everybody.
strong thing.
Yeah, yeah. And it would have been so much more helpful if she had been able to really give you that encouragement, that confidence. And yet,
Yeah.
you did handle it.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you did handle it. You
but,
got
you
through
know,
it.
and nobody laughed.
Yeah.
At least Marcus. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So-
We'll work on that too. We'll work on how you might be helpful to Marcus too. Right now, what might be helpful to you? What might be helpful to you right now? And then we'll work on what might be helpful to you the next time she calls on you and you don't know what to do.
Okay. So right now, I just kind of want to go outside and walk around a little
Okay,
bit.
yeah, because
But I
that's
do
one of the
need help
ways.
with math.
Because you know what? I'm feeling your hands and I
Yeah,
can feel that
I
you're
need to-
really
I need to-
tense.
I need-
Yeah,
yeah.
you're still frustrated. You're
Yeah.
still feeling frustrated.
Yeah.
So take a walk outside. We'll work on the math. Sounds like a plan. And then you know what we're going to do too? When that moment comes, when you're sitting at your desk, what is it that will help you? We'll find that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. I'm going outside. See you, Mom.
Yeah. Oh, honey, your pack.
Okay. I'll put that. I'm going to drop that over here.
Ah, you
See you a little bit later. As funny as the previous scenes have been, it's a serious problem. We can't do differently unless we know differently, unless we become consciously aware. I hope this information guides you on a journey so that you have a new, inspired relationship with your own emotions, and in turn can help the next generation of children find emotional well-being that we didn't even dream could be possible. I wish you well.
So let's talk about that a little bit. Keeping social emotional intelligence in mind and becoming more aware and more conscious of how we're handling things and how we're living our values daily. Think about this quote by Aristotle: educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. We can teach the children color, shapes, numbers, how to write their name, how to do their math, how to skim their social studies, how to eat with a spoon, how to roll over. But if we're not connecting with them, if we're not creating relationships, teaching them how to be good humans by making that heart connection so that they can socially and emotionally become intelligent as they grow, then what are we really doing for them? They're going to know their colors and shapes, but they're not going to know how to communicate with their coworkers. They're going to know how to do math homework or take a test, but they're not going to be able to work well under pressure or get to their jobs on time. Think about the skills that we are giving them daily. Again, I get it's a job, it pays your bills, but what you are doing every day is so important. And if we take the time to be conscious of our social and emotional well-being, how much more can we be helping these children? Thinking about discipline. We have to discipline children daily, throughout the day, constantly. But discipline is helping a child learn how to solve a problem, right? There are consequences for our behavior, some of them natural consequences. You threw the blocks in the block area and somebody threw one back at you and you got hit in the head, sort of a natural consequence. Maybe you won't throw blocks anymore, right? But disciplining a child should be to help them learn how to solve a problem. Punishment is making them suffer for having a problem, right? So going over and talking to children through a fight or a disagreement where they're hurting one another, and then having a consequence for that is discipline. Telling a child, you are throwing wood chips and you hit your friends with them, and those wood chips are expensive and we don't throw them, go sit by the wall. You've got 5 minutes. That's punishing them for making a poor choice versus teaching them how to make a good choice. Maybe making a good choice is you have that same conversation about how much the wood chips cost, how much time it took for Mr. Phil and his group to put those wood chips in that area. What are the wood chips for? To keep us safe. So now how are we going to fix the problem that we threw wood chips and they got everywhere? That consequence is having to get the broom and clean those up, right? That's just one example. We can talk of others, but think about what you're teaching them through disciplining them. And when our little people are overwhelmed by big emotions, it's our job to share our calm, not join their chaos. And what do? It gets loud in the room, the kids start getting chaotic, and we get all frustrated. Oh my gosh, it's so loud in here. We immediately flip off the lights. Again, not saying we shouldn't turn off the lights to get attention. I'm just saying we feed into that versus maybe it's turning off the lights. And once the kids turn and look, saying, everybody breathe with me. Right? Or a child comes to you all chaotic, just like in that video, they're all worked up, they're wound up. Maybe touch their hands gently. As they're looking at you, take a deep breath. Their bodies will respond. They will start to breathe. So think about that. When they come to us with big, overwhelming emotions, it's not our job to get all worked up. It's our job to say, wow, you are really excited right now, or wow, you are really angry right now. What can I do to help you? Right? That's our job. We have to help them find calm in the chaos. Perception is something else I wanted to talk to you about. And the definition of perception is a way of regarding, understanding, or interpreting something, a mental impression. So you've all seen things like this. Take a look at this picture. Some of you right away see an old lady and an old man. Other people, your eyes are drawn to other things in this photo. There's a woman standing in a window here. This is the arch of a doorway in a building, is his hairline. Or maybe you see this man playing a guitar, or this person holding a basket on their head are the wrinkles in her forehead, or her earring is a bottle. So many different things, and everybody might see something different, right? It's our perception. We don't all see things the same way, and the kids don't see them the same way, right? So the way we perceive a situation with children might not be how it happened. So shouldn't we back up and say, tell me what's happening here? What's going on, right? Or something that happened with a coworker, or the way they handled a situation. What you think might have happened might be different than what they think happened. Back up, ask those things. Realize that there's more perspectives than just your own. A lot of times children have a reason for things that they do. They probably have a reason that they lashed out and hit somebody. Did you ask them? Did you look at the situation why a child might have bit somebody? Now, sometimes there are no good reasons, right? There really aren't reasons other than they just were in a mood. But maybe that's it. Maybe they're tired. Maybe they're hungry. Maybe they just were in a mood. And if we're looking at the situation and getting to them in time, we could say, we can see that you don't seem to be feeling like yourself. Would you like to come over to the book area and lay down? Would you like your blanket to snuggle with? Is it really a bad thing we let them have their blankets from time to time? We have all these little rules and reasons why we think we shouldn't do things. Think about it. Think about how you're perceiving a situation with a child. Why are we thinking that they're being hurtful in a negative way versus they're being hurtful because they don't know how to communicate their feelings? Let's teach them. My next question is, are you resilient? Resilience is being able to withstand or recover quickly from difficult situations, whether it be personal life or work. Think about, how do you respond? Do you recover quickly? Do you stay mad for a long period of time once you're mad? Think about it. How resilient are you? Don't we want children to be resilient in the classroom? We want them to be able to change from one thing to the next quickly. We want them to recover when they've had a meltdown, to get it together. Not everybody works that way, right? But if we want to teach them resilience, then we have to be resilient, and we have to give them the skill on how to recover, taking deep breaths, removing yourself from a situation, cuddling with a blanket for a little while, allowing them to have the time they need to recover will help them become more resilient in dealing with conflicts over time. Resilience isn't a single skill. It's a variety of skills and coping mechanisms. To bounce back from bumps in the road as well as failures, you should focus on emphasizing the positive. And think about this Bible passage. You hear it all the time, Philippians 4:13. I can endure all things through the power of the one who gives me strength. Or sometimes you hear it as in, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. That's it. That's being resilient, knowing that you can step back, take a breath. We have God on our side and he gives us the strength we need. Are we sharing that with the kids? Are we teaching them that when they're having a bad moment, they can pray about it? Maybe we pray with them. Are we teaching them that they can talk to God, or reading them a book about giving their problems to God? Maybe we need to incorporate our faith a little bit more in our daily lives to help them learn how to be resilient, right? Think of the skills they need to learn how to bounce back. They need to learn how to communicate. They need to learn how to calm themselves or self-soothe. This is with an infant too, whether it's with a pacifier or a blanket or being in their cribs or being held in a certain way. Helping children learn how to calm themselves and deal with the situation at hand helps them become resilient in the long run. Here is another little chart on resilience. And I thought this was really good. When I saw it, I really liked how it was laid out because it makes me think personally for myself. Am I an optimistic person? Do I focus on my strengths, or can I be a pessimist? Am I always looking at the negative things, right? That's part of being resilient. What's the attitude to life? Do I focus on the action of I can do this, or oh, it's going to be too hard, I can't do that, or I don't have the time? How about our emotional awareness? This is the key to good communication. Are we aware of how we feel emotionally, right? Are we sharing that? How about control of ourselves, our responses to circumstances, or organizational ability? Okay. How about social support, our network of friends and family? Do we have a support system? How about sense of humor? Can we laugh at life's frustrations, or do we just get mad and upset? Self-belief, are we confident? Do we have high self-esteem? I know myself, every one of us, we all have our flaws and we have those things that we focus on that we don't like about ourselves. But overall, do you see yourself as being a good human? Do you have confidence in your abilities? What do you need to gain that and have good self-belief? The ability to problem solve. Are you willing to adapt and be flexible and solve problems? These are all parts of being resilient and building resilience. So maybe just going through this, you realize, gosh, I have work to do myself. I'm not a very resilient person. That's the point of this. I want you to think on a personal level too. Where do you need to grow? I try to think of those things often. I'm not great at it either, but we do from time to time need to learn that personally, we have work to do on ourselves. That in turn will affect our jobs and how we interact with others and our social and emotional intelligence overall. So let's talk about feelings. Part of social emotional learning is all of these components: having self-awareness, being responsible in decision-making, relationship skills, being able to form relationships, being able to work in teams, dealing with conflict, having a social awareness, being able to show understanding and be empathetic for others, and self-management, managing emotions and behaviors to achieve one's goals. If we want children to achieve these things, we have to be doing them ourselves. We have to be able to recognize when we're getting frustrated. That self-awareness piece, do you know when you're frustrated? What pushes your buttons? Do you know? Stop and think about it, because in the heat of the moment, I'm sure at work, you don't realize your buttons are being pushed until after the fact, and then you realize you got frustrated. That's where I am sometimes, right? So knowing what we have as strengths and what our challenges for us so we can work on that. And then being able to make good decisions, constructive choices about our personal and our social behavior, forming positive relationships, showing understanding and empathy, not only for the kids, for our coworkers, for ourselves. These are all pieces of our own social emotional development and learning, and we want to help the children develop these as well. You can see in this chart that social emotional learning in all of those pieces, this SEL curriculum and instruction is social emotional learning curriculum. It starts in our classrooms. So on a school level, in the classroom, we have the ability to help the children gain these skills. And then within our school and within the homes and communities that feeds each other, if we start doing this type of thing in our classroom and we work on ourselves personally so that we're able to bring this to our classrooms, then it's just going to grow. And ultimately, in the long run, the community and homes and the future will be forever changed by each one of you, by helping children now, today, gain these social emotional skills, making a change, doing it differently than just existing every day. Social emotional skills are lacking in today's world, right? People get irritated when they're cut off in traffic. Nobody ever stops and goes, gosh, they're really in a hurry. I hope that everything is okay. No, you think, what a jerk, he cut me off, right? We do it too. But think about it. Why are we living our lives like that? Why are we not giving these skills to the next generation? Why are we losing them? I feel like I was brought up with some of these things, not all of them. There were things that, not all parents get everything right. I had a wonderful family and great experiences. I don't have what I would consider a lot of traumas in my life from a young age, but we all go through things, whether it be surgeries or divorces or childhood things that create trauma, and all of those divorce, all of these things within the world today shape children's social and emotional abilities and their level of social emotional intelligence. And it's changing us as a world and a society. We are weak in social emotional skills. We are weak in giving those skills to the next generation. Let's be different here. Let's change this. We have the opportunity to do that. To be emotionally intelligent means to understand the powerful emotions of you and others and to handle it properly, right? We want to make good decisions. We want to understand how we feel and how others feel and to be able to make good decisions. Social and emotional learning is the process through which children and adults acquire and effectively apply the knowledge, attitudes, and skills necessary to understand and manage emotions, set and achieve positive goals, feel and show empathy for others, establish and maintain positive relationships, and make responsible decisions. How important is that to every aspect of your life? If we don't teach infants how to handle their emotions or children at a young age, they're going to be adults that blow up or that can't calm themselves down or that cry about every little thing. I know that sounds silly. I'm sort of just making a broad example, but think about it. If we're not giving them the skills here and now, how are they going to achieve things in their lives? How are they going to care for others? How are they going to want to serve others? How are they going to have positive, lasting, loving relationships and make responsible decisions? It starts with us. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Proverbs 22:6. It starts with us. If we start today, there's always opportunity to grow, learn, and change. That's what I want you guys to take from these trainings, to not just look at it as I had to give up 3 hours of my Sunday. I know it feels that way. And I know this is a job to pay your bills. I want us to be good humans, all of us. I care about every one of you. I care about the children and families in our care. This is important stuff. We need to be the change. It can start with us by the way we're treating children, the way we're treating one another, the way we help them resolve conflicts, and the models and examples that we give to them daily. We have so much contact with them. A lot of times we feel like we're their parents. This is your opportunity to help raise a socially, emotionally intelligent generation to come. Thanks for listening to my portion of the training. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your training to come.